The airport is on the newer side of Shanghai, which has been built up over the last 20 years as China is working to bring small farmers off the fields and to the cities. Shanghai has about 25 million people and is growing. Shanghai is a city of water transportation. In addition to the Huangpu River, there are plenty of canals. This is the Huangpu, a tributary of the Yangtze that empties into the East China Sea. Products are shipped from here deep into the central part of China. We arrived at mid-afternoon on a Saturday, high humidity with a temperature of about 85 and millions of autos made for a smoggy day. Our hotel was in the area known as the Bund, right on the Huangpu. Shippers do not use big tows like we see on the Mississippi. These are all single barges. On Sunday, we visited a fish farm that is built on a model designed by a professor at the University of Alabama. The innovative pond is more efficient than traditional fish farms and more environmentally friendly. Lunchtime for the grass carp, they eat a Purina product that is fortified with high-protein soy meal from beans grown in the U.S. The few rural roads we traveled on in Shanghai were all tree-lined, and the community itself was quite clean. A dim sum-style lunch featuring a wide variety of Chinese food, not reminiscent of what we call Chinese cuisine here, but the beer was good. Dim sum and then some. This is a lotus field. The lotus puts out a beautiful flower, but the root is harvested. It is quite fruity and yummy. How do you spell KFC in China? A typical housing area, very few residents live in single-family dwellings, and apartments are somewhat expensive. Believe it or not, this is a radio tower that has a restaurant and some office space. Hard to tell from here, but this is old Shanghai. Thousands of young people will crowd in here to shop and listen to music. The performers actually pay to play. The Huangpu at night. More than a dozen river cruise boats line up before dusk. More housing under construction. Our guide told us the construction crane is the official bird of China. While there are millions of automobiles in Shanghai, many people ride electric motor scooters. More dim sum. They just keep piling on the food and, thankfully, the Tsingtao beer. Welcome to Ho Chi Minh City, a.k.a. Saigon, Vietnam, home to 10 million people and 6 million motor scooters and small motorcycles. Good morning, Vietnam, from the 19th floor of the Sheraton Saigon overlooking the Saigon River. These motor scooters often get their own traffic lanes. Some architecture. More architecture. A nice home with outdoor commerce. All along this highway were small shops, cafes, etc., most with no doors, all wide open 24/7, and with almost no crime to speak of. Our first stop in Vietnam was a flour mill that processes soy meal for use in livestock feed. A Panamax vessel offloading a shipment of soy meal. This community spent a lot of time and money trimming the shrubbery along the boulevard. They spent very little cleaning up the litter. Here's a big leafy dragon. Many residents shop in the so-called wet market. These fish were not good enough to be used in the big fish processing factories and wound up here instead, along with all kinds of other protein like rodents and birds. No dogs or cats. Lunch, our first day, was at a resort, a restaurant that had no walls. Most residences in Vietnam are narrow but tall. During the French colonial period, taxes were based on frontage, so homes here are about 10 to 12 feet wide but 30 or so feet deep and 3 or 4 stories tall. There are many trucks like this. There are also larger semis, but not nearly as many as you might see in the U.S. These are dragon fruit, very yummy and quite good for you. This is the control room of the Green Feed feed mill. Green Feed uses a large amount of soybean meal, but other ingredients are added to its livestock feed products. This is the headquarters of the Vinh Nguyen Corporation, one of the top exporters of Pangasius fish, aka catfish, in Vietnam. Chances are, if you eat frozen catfish, it came from here. There are many rural residences like this on the road to the actual catfish farm. Note the satellite dish. The road to the Mekong River was blocked by construction, so we had to take this smaller river to the catfish farm. The offices of the catfish farm. Supper time for the Pangasius with a diet high in soy protein. A wagon full of dragon fruit. People would haul all sorts of things with their scooters. We saw one man with an apartment-sized refrigerator strapped to the back of his bike. A family outing on the scooter. More mobile commerce. This is the former post office, which is now a tourist destination with lots of small shops inside. A pedicab ride through Ho Chi Minh City. A closer look at the city's architecture. The former CIA headquarters, now a luxury hotel. Saigon at night. Like my new hat? Yes, it was late and we were all a little fuzzy, but this roadside restaurant also had no walls. Because you cannot have enough flaming prawns. Or maybe you can.